Hello, lovely viewers and listeners. You're welcome to Adkwart Studios. Today being 25th of May 2023. Today we are marking 60 years of Africanism. Since the AU came into existence, we are 60 years. Today I want us to make some retrospections into our achievements as Africans. This is your host, Nana Kosi Ajimai. Now, what I want us to look at today is the achievement of Africa. What are we celebrating as Africans? Do you have something to celebrate for? It is going to be questions and answers. Some will be rhetorical questions. I don't need answers from anyone. But as you continue to listen and watch me here, you'll be answering yourself. So, can Africans celebrate anything positive? Means that 60 years of existence, we are on retirement. What have you been able to achieve as Africans? African Union. What are you celebrating? What are you championing? What are you telling us as Africans? The same big words. When it's come to writing of English, we are the best. But it's very unfortunate that your people are hungry and poor. God has endowed Africa with everything it needs to survive and to be prosperous on her own land. But what do we see? Today, are you celebrating our selfishness, our greediness, our stinginess, or what? What are we celebrating? A continent that is the richest among all the continents that we have, but we are the poorest because of mismanagement and poor leaders. What are we celebrating as Africans? We have so many great minds and great people. But what do we see today? When you go to the various airports, you see so many youth exodusing from this country, exodusing from their countries to the Europe lands and the American lands and what have you, in account of searching for greener pastures. For us. So Africa is not developing because we are left with the overaged people and the very younger generation which they cannot do anything. The youth are going. Go to other countries and find out how many youth have left. Especially my country, Ghana. What are we doing? What can we boast of as Africans? But before I continue, I want you to watch this video from one professor that I respect so much. So I will ask my producer Ken to showcase this video for us to see and just listen to what this professor was saying and envisaging with regards to the vision of a man who has died so many years ago, but we have not been able to achieve even a single of his aims. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Producer.
When I stand on the shoulders of the Osagie for Kwame Nkrumah, accuse me all you want, call me intellectually lazy, call me a romanticist, call me naive, But when I stand on the shoulders of the Osagie for Nkrumah, this is the Africa that I see. I see an Africa one day where there'll be a single passport for all of us. I see an Africa one day where there'll be a single telephone code for all of us. I see that Africa. I see an Africa one day where there'll only be one ambassador for the entire continent of Africa at the United Nations. I see an Africa one day that will be sitting as a permanent member of the UN General Assembly. I see that Africa. I see an Africa one day where the defense forces of Lesotho will be merged into an African defense force. I see that Africa. I see an Africa one day where the Maloti will be dead. I see an Africa where the Rand will be dead, the shilling will be dead, the Kwanza will be dead, the Kwacha will be dead, the Birr will be dead. All these useless currencies will be dead, and there'll only be one currency, the Africa.
Producer, thank you.
Or whatever name we choose to give it.
Thank you very much.
I see an Africa one day where we will not be walking.
People, did you hear that? Did you see that? These are the visions of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the former president of Ghana, the late. This man had all these visions for Africa. We clapped. We applauded for his visions. But the question is, what have we done so far? This man was yearning to see a day that Africans will have one passport. All the over 50-something African countries getting one passport. Today you go to other African countries, the way you are being maltreated is an eyesore. Today you need a visa to be able to enter into another African country. Poor us. Each of the African countries has its own currency. What for? Today, we are in Africa, but the dollar determines our economy. What are we doing? What kind of leaders do we have? What kind of leaders do we have? Too much hypocrisy. The greed is too much. People are just siphoning the country's money and investing in other countries. This man said that he's looking out for a day that there will be a one representative for Africa when it's come to the whole world's meetings. Will this be possible? When will this be? I read something today and I found out that the AU, the African Union, is saying that they are targeting something in 2063 from today. That means 40 years time that certain things will be in place. I quite remember you were once talking about ECO. One currency the West Africans were even going to have. Nothing. Now they've stopped talking about it. When are we getting one passport as Africans? So that when you are entering into another African country, you don't need a visa. When? When will this be? And what African country is going to stand out tall to start this? None. Well, when you take 10 African countries with their leaders, only one is responsible. Only one thinks about the people. Only one thinks about the nation. The rest think about their political parties. What are we leaving behind for our generation, the younger generations to come? We are amassing all wealth for our family members. without thinking about the future generation. What kind of people are we? What don't we have as Africans? Name it. What don't we have? So if Africans were to come together, Ghanaians will bring their wealth, Nigerians will bring their resources, South Africans will bring their resources, all the countries will bring their resources together, and this would have made Africa one of the envious continents. What do we see today? Greediness, stealing, corruption, bribes everywhere. What kind of people are we? Black people. Tell me. Sometimes when I sit down and think about us, I don't get answers. Because I get confused along the line. When are we getting one passport as Africans? When are we going to have one currency that will drive our economy so that we can be dependent on ourselves? African leaders, please, don't we reason as people? When the white people are talking, they talk about their nations. We talk about our political parties. Poor us. With all the degrees, with all the education that we had, we are not using anything. He made mention of something. It is high time our schools tend to teach something useful at the end of the day. We are looking forward to a day that will stop teaching our students about parts of trees and teach them the usefulness of trees. It is time we teach our schools about things that will make us productive instead of just telling us about books, theories. That brings nothing to us. Some of our subjects need to be taken out of our curriculums because it is not useful, it's not important. We only learn theories of people. We don't do any practicals, nothing. After school, you can do nothing with what you've gotten. We don't even respect our own languages. Wow. What identifies us as Africans? You come to Ghana, a student speaks the local language, the student is being punished for not speaking English. A student is being beaten for speaking the mother tongue at the expense of English, and he or she is being beaten. Why? Because he has spoken vernacular in our own land. Where are we heading towards as Africans? We have independence, but it's on paper. Because we still depend on World Bank and IMF for support. So we sit in African continent, and the IMF determines what we should use our money for. And we call ourselves leaders. Leaders. We can think far. African leaders, get up. You guys call the Dane's president as old people. When there were no computers and whatever, they were visionaries. They were seeing far like eagles. But today's leaders are lazy. Lazy, hypocrites, greed. They know about money. Just taking the country's money and investing in the foreign lands. So that when they retire, when they are out of service, they travel and enjoy the goodies with their families out there. And the nationals, they suffer here. As at now, you go to some countries in Africa, they don't even have potable water to drink. What are you celebrating? Today you've met. You are talking English. You are drinking teas with a lot of things. By the time you return back to your country, you have wasted so much money. African leaders, you should get up. You should awake from your slumber, because you have slept for too much and too long. Your people are hungry. Your people are thirsty for potable water. Your people need better education, quality education. Quality education. An education that on the day the person can use his or her hands to do something for the betterment of the family and the nation as well. People are completing university, they can't do anything, nothing at all. And they are called technology universities. They can't even fix a tie. When the car is broken down. Because it's about theories. Root learning. We learn because we want to pass examinations. That's our system of education. We don't know what we're doing. What sort of leaders do we have? We go out there and learn their policies. But we come here, we do nothing as African leaders. We were taught by the same lecturers out there. When you ask them which schools they attended, they will be mentioning Lincoln University. They will be mentioning all the universities in the world that are popular and famous. But what shows that you went to that university? Because those that went to those universities, they are doing something profitable in their nations. Ours, is it a curse to be Africans? What kind of leaders do we have? What kind of leaders do we have in Africa? Look at Africa today. No wonder Trump calls us the shithole. If it rains for 10 minutes, most African countries will be submerged with water. We don't care. Our sanitation system, our health systems, our transportation systems, everything is poor. What is happening? Let me ask you, Mr. President, or whoever. Those houses, those cars, those mansions, those properties that you are amassing for yourself and for your family, when you die, will you go with them? When you retire, can you account? Will you be happy for all those? If not, I want to tell you that you have wasted our resources. And you're not a leader. Thank you. And I wish you all the best. Let's put our heads together as Africans. Let's do our best. All is not lost. I know that when we continue doing what is right, things will be fine. When you think right, when you think positive as Africans, things will change. All is not lost. Just have positive mentality. And I'm urging the youth of this country to be positive. We should sit up. The nation rests on our shoulders. We shouldn't give up. And I know one day the light that we continue to hear that is at the end of the tunnel, the light will come out. and we enjoy. God bless you. May God bless our continent, Africa. May God grant our leaders wisdom and understanding to be able to lead us well, to make impact, positive impact, to change our generation and the future ones to come. Stay blessed.